reopening the economy.
This virus will remain out there. And so our life has to be guided by that.
State leaders break down what those first steps could look like. But is it too soon?
The message for our community today is that we can't let up.
Experts sound off on what we need to watch for as the May 1st target date approaches and what local business owners say they still need. Sweet send-off.
I was not expecting this at all.
A community parade for a hero headed off to join the Marines. And a whole new world perspective on how much all of our lives have changed in so little time.
From the WKYC studios, this is What's Next.
Thanks for being with us on this Friday night. I'm Sarah Shookman, joining you remotely from home.
And I'm Betsy Kling in for Russ tonight here in the WKYC studios.
So let's get you started with tonight's headlines, shall we? President Donald Trump says his administration is launching a $19 billion program to help farmers struggling from the coronavirus pandemic. The Agriculture Secretary says the program includes $16 billion in direct payments to farmers, ranchers, and producers who've experienced unprecedented losses. There appears to be progress adding new funding for the Paycheck Protection Program. Republicans seem willing to accept Democratic demands of hospital funding to break a stalemate over the Trump administration's $250 billion emergency request for small business subsidies. And tomorrow's One World Together at Home concert features a list of famous performers too long to name, raising support for frontline workers. The late-night hosts Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, and Stephen Colbert will all together virtually host the show, airing on all NBC networks starting at 8 p.m.
Governor DeWine announced today that the state of Ohio will begin opening for business on May 1st, but there's many Ohioans who think that's too early. The governor's response? Watch how we do this. Laura Queso reports on what's next as the state rolls out the plans to restart the economy.
This virus will remain out there. And so our life has to be guided by that.
And there's no denying testing is limited and the need for personal protective equipment continues. So as we go into this second phase, the start of reopening the state's economy, the governor was asked, is May 1st too early?
It's time to look at businesses that can come back and where people can be safe. It will, by definition, by our definition at least, take a while for this whole process to take place. It is not going to occur overnight.
Yes, Ohio has squashed the coronavirus curve, but there are still deaths, hospitalizations, and new cases. The governor says he looks at the numbers every single day.
And if it's time to pull back and stop the expansion, we will do that, and we will not hesitate to do that.
Right now, what we're seeing is that we have a flattened curve, and that, we're hanging pretty steady right now. I think, and it's really important to be very realistic for the public. We have a journey ahead.
Governor DeWine says you should not expect May 1st to roll around with your favorite hangout running like it did before. So expect the following: 6 feet distancing between customers and employees. You will see employees wearing masks and gloves. You might see barriers where needed. Also, surfaces should be sanitized often, and employees should have time to wash their hands. There will be staggered arrivals and lunch breaks for employees, and those who can work from home will work from home.
Many people are walking around among us and don't know they're carrying the virus.
And speaking to that point, the governor said that 152 inmates at a prison dorm in Ohio tested positive for COVID-19. Of them, 60 showed no symptoms. Laura Queso, 3 News.
So is May 1st too soon? Well, many of you are sounding off tonight about the governor's plan to reopen Ohio. And our Andrew Horansky dug into it. Here's what he found.
Facebook flared up today. People not feeling safe, they won't go out, Sarah wrote on her page. It won't help the economy. While Edwards said, let people get back to work. If you are concerned, stay home. The medical director for Cuyahoga County's Board of Health urging caution.
The message for our community today is that we can't let up, and our team still sees people who are ill.
Others warning that cases could spike again if communities are not careful.
If the the state doesn't roll out aggressive community-based testing, we could end up right back where we started or worse.
It's as if like a war is happening on our shores and you can't hear it, you can't see it.
Well, tonight, President Trump has assembled a bipartisan task force to reopen the economy. Congressman Anthony Gonzalez, who represents sections of Northeast Ohio, was among those picked for the job and believes it's time.
We should expect it to be a little bumpy. It's not going to be the smoothest ride forward.
Because even as the economy begins to heal, COVID-19 won't have been cured.
You're choosing to move forward knowing that it's going to be choppy and knowing that you're going to have to be able to respond and be more targeted with how you respond if and when minor outbreaks happen throughout the country. But when we look back on this, I know we're going to be so proud of our community.
One tonight continuing to grapple with what's best. And what about schools? Governor DeWine says he will let us know next week whether they will remain closed for the remainder of this school year. Meantime, tonight, both the state's and city's teachers' unions are advocating for that. Reporting in Cleveland tonight, I'm Andrew Horansky, 3 News.
Some businesses are already making plans, working with local leaders to find ways to reopen safely. But as Will Ewig reports, they're still waiting on some key information.
Hundreds of kids that work for us that we had to tell them, they don't have a job right now.
The situation at Panini's across Northeast Ohio is a common one around the country. Businesses trying to figure out how to get by with no idea what the future holds.
Right now we're doing carry out. The girls take orders, the cars pull up, but it's barely paying the bills.
Now some light at the end of the tunnel. As cases of the coronavirus begin to decline, talk of reopening businesses next month have surfaced. But what exactly will they have to change in order to do so?
It takes some time to plan for that.
Lake County Commissioner and candidate for state Senate Jerry Serino has been working with different businesses, trying to come up with tailored reopening plans and delivering their proposals and ideas to the state.
Every single one of them has been very creative and very diligent. We really need the state to give some local governments the opportunity to work with businesses so that they can tailor the way that they open and the way that they operate in the future.
Changes to restaurants could mean a lot of different things, anywhere from taking a customer's temperature before they walk in to getting rid of menus like this in favor of paper, disposable ones. They're talking about moving tables further apart, limiting how many people can be inside the building and limiting how many people can be in one party. Pardon the pun, but everything is on the table. They're just waiting for some guidance from the government.
We don't know yet. They really haven't given us any guidelines on what's going to happen. We're sitting on the sidelines waiting, and when they tell us to go, we're ready.
As businesses in Lake County and all across the Buckeye State continue to wait for those guidelines, Serino says he'll keep working with these shops and companies to make sure as soon as the governor gives the green light.
I know how badly they want to get back in business and serve their customer base.
They'll be as prepared to open as they are eager.
Just the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, it's a sign of hope.
In Lake County, Will Ewig
is what we're looking for.
3 News.
And from the economic to the emotional side of things here, adjusting to a new world of social isolation has been challenging for many of us. But for those dealing with addiction, this can be a particularly trying time. Our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins, takes a look at the ways the recovery community is adapting during quarantine.
I started drinking and smoking with my friends at 15 years old. And from there, things progressed, just like so many people's stories. I started experimenting with a lot of different drugs. And I did that for a couple of years until 2016 when I finally got sober.
Tim Dunn was 4 years into his recovery journey from a heroin addiction and living at Illyria's Road to Hope house when the coronavirus pandemic hit.
Everyone's struggling a little bit with all this. Everyone's got their own things going on. Honestly, kind of in the beginning of it, I was a little bit invested, a little bit too much invested into myself. About how this would affect me and all that stuff.
He would have graduated from a physical therapy assistant program in May. Now his next step is on hold. But he says the support from the recovery community has gone far.
Like the relationships with each other, us at this house, has definitely grown and gotten better because of this. Just because, we're all going through the same thing.
These are stressful times, and experts expect to see an uptick in substance abuse.
Once this epidemic is over, I anticipate that we're going to have a avalanche of people seeking care.
Tom Stuber, president and CEO of Licata Way, says a sense of community is so important for those who struggle with addiction and mental illness.
The critical important is that you're able to connect with other people, and get the recovery support you need and avoid isolation.
And though much of group therapy has moved online, Dunn tells us virtual connections remain strong.
We've also done the online meetings quite a bit with other guys in the recovery community, and like some 12-step meetings using, the Zoom app. We could see all the guys in the community that we know and have helped us out a lot. So those meetings are really cool.
But many struggling with addiction have yet to start their own road to recovery and are most vulnerable.
Social isolation is going to be the consequence of this pandemic, and you're going to see increases in drug abuse and suicidal ideation and other social consequences.
But it's important to know help is available.
Nobody needs to suffer on their own, and certainly, using alcohol and drugs is not the solution to solving your social isolation. It only intensifies the problem.
So pick up that phone and just call people and see how they're doing. And like I said, because everyone's going through it, and that phone call can make such a difference in someone's day.
Monica Robbins, 3 News.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or mental illness, there is help out there. We've got a list of those resources on WKYC.com right now. Still ahead tonight, Semper Fi, a send-off parking lot party for a Medina County man headed to the Marines. And Betsy, let's hope this snow gets out of here.
Your wish is my command. Yes, the snow is outbound, the sun is inbound, but the big question is now, how long does that stick around? I've got the details straight ahead.
What's Next is sponsored by the Calvetta Brothers Floor Show. It's time to fall in love again with your home.
We are sending good luck to Justin Hartori Jr. His family and friends threw him a surprise parking lot party tonight in Brunswick. That's because Justin is headed to boot camp on Monday to become a Marine.
I was not expecting this at all, so it touched me more than just seeing people, just seeing their support, and it meant a lot to me.
And Justin's family had to watch him being sworn in last week by video, so they wanted to do something more to show him how much they support him. We support him as well. Best of luck to you, Justin, and thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you. Tonight, we want to take a moment to reflect on how things have changed since the first coronavirus cases changed life here in Ohio. But as photojournalist Kelly Matters shows us, we also have so much to look forward to because there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
This afternoon, we learned that 3 Ohioans have tested positive for COVID-19.
Everyone matters right now.
We are at an absolutely crucial time. Many people already have this virus and are walking around in Ohio. When people are dying, when people don't feel safe, this economy is not going to come back. We have to do everything we can to separate ourselves from others. We want to get this over with as fast as we can. We want to get people back to work.
And we will fight it, and we will eventually have a vaccine, and it will become a history story again.
We will get through this.
Things will get better.
The sun will shine again. It will be spring again in this wonderful, beautiful state of Ohio.
Spring will come again. I think that is right. Great job on that piece, Kelly. It just puts it all in perspective, Betsy. We're just talking about 5 weeks here and how much things have really changed.
Completely upended, certainly. And, you know, the weather has cooperated with us a few times, but today was one of those days where people were rolling their eyes like, Ohio, right? But it's going to change as we go through the weekend. The sun is going to be coming out for us, and we'll get things started tomorrow morning with temperatures in the 30s. And those partly cloudy skies around. If you haven't noticed, the trees are budding up like crazy, blooming. Azaleas are blooming, daffodils are up, and even with the snow, don't worry about them. They're going to be okay. It just kind of adds a little extra moisture to the soil as all of it melts away. What's left of the snow and the rain continues to move out of northeast Ohio at this hour, but the problem is we have cooling air, and that humidity is not going anywhere. So we have fog that has been forming in the last couple of hours. 3/4 visibility right now in Mansfield, 3/4 mile visibility, and then 1.5 mile visibility in Youngstown. Those are kind of the two hot spots as far as the fog goes. Wind is not really a huge factor for us right now, but we do have a northerly wind coming in off the lake, which is providing a haze for us. And the temperatures have cooled back into the low 30s along the lakeshore. A little bit warmer farther south. 43 still the hot spot in Dover, tropical Dover at that. But you too will be cooling off as we get into the overnight hours. Our storm system is out of here. We made it through the day. We picked up 1.8 inches of snow in Cleveland as of 5 p.m. We may have added a couple tenths after that. But I'll tell you what, April weather can be very tricky in northeast Ohio. What comes in will then move out, and the next thing on the plate is going to be sunshine. We're going to start with some clouds tomorrow morning, maybe a passing sprinkle east in the beginning of the day, but then we get into some sunshine. Not until later in the day on Sunday that we bring some rain chances back into the forecast. So your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast has temperatures in the low 30s to begin tomorrow. We will have a mix of clouds and sun, but then I think we get treated to some blue skies as we head through the afternoon, and temperatures will nicely bump into the 40s midday, and I think we'll be topping out in the low 50s across northeast Ohio. Light southwesterly breezes, lots of sunshine, the snow is melted, so I think we're set to have a nice warm up coming our way. Then as we go through Saturday evening, the temperatures may slack off just a little bit, but as you can see, it's still some pretty nice weather for us. We're still in the 50s at 5 p.m. Light southwesterly breezes continue. And even as we get into the midnight hour, our temperatures are still hanging in the 40s. So if you have a chance, maybe get out with the family, have a campfire or a bonfire in the backyard, safely, of course, please. But, you know, it does look like it could be a nice evening out of doors. Now, as we start the day on Sunday, we'll be partly cloudy in the morning, then the clouds thicken up. And by the latter part of the day, we're going to watch some rain chances that start to sneak in here. Scattered showers probably in the evening. Those will linger into the overnight. And then I think the good news is that should be passing through too, and we'll be treated to more sunshine by the time we get into Monday. So let's wrap it all up in your Universal Windows Direct forecast. Low 50s tomorrow, partly cloudy, upper 50s with that rain chance sneaking in here on Sunday. We'll be a little bit cooler Monday into Tuesday with the low 50s back, but then we get a nice bounce into the upper 50s and low 60s that sticks around for a few days. Keep in mind 60 degrees is the average high for this time of the year, so we're just happy to get back to average. Who's not? But even as we get into next weekend, it looks like temperatures should stay in the 60s with some rain chances.
Thanks, Betsy. Up next in sports, Major League Baseball may soon be asking players to take another pay cut. Find out why. Nick joins us after the break.
This sports report is sponsored by the people-pleasing people at Sarah Auto Park in Akron.
Welcoming you back here to the Camino Kitchen, and I'm just going to be honest with you. We're still recovering from all the snow that was falling all day long here, Betsy Kling. What's going on with that? We'll talk about that after sports. All right, let's catch you up on what's been happening in the world of sports. We start with Major League Baseball, and you know, there's all sorts of contingency plans that are being talked about in baseball. We still don't have anything official yet. Here's what we do know, though. Tribe skipper Terry Francona, he recently said two noteworthy things on a conference call. He admitted they're just going to have to make some concessions. That's how it's going to be. They have to make adjustments. But this was interesting. He said playing in Cleveland anytime soon, it's just unrealistic. He said, quote, it's just not going to happen. We've heard rumblings, but the manager was pretty official there. Staying with Major League Baseball, we knew this was coming. According to multiple reports, MLB and the owners are expected to ask the players to take additional pay cuts this year here if the season gets going. Here's the reasoning. If the season starts, there won't be any fans at the games. If that happens, they lose a huge stream of revenue. The Players Union has not made a comment on that story. All right, let's talk some football now. We're just days away from the NFL draft, and the Browns are already busy. Now, we knew this was likely, but now it's official. Kareem Hunt will be back with the Browns. He ended up signing his second-round tender this afternoon, and you love that. You got the 1-2 combo of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. They will be back. And I thought this story was interesting. We'll probably hear all sorts of things leading up to the NFL draft. But according to one report, the Denver Broncos are a team hoping to make a deal with the Browns. They're trying to trade up to that number 10 pick. That would mean that the Browns would trade back. I don't think a lot of fans want to see that. I think a lot of people want to see the Browns take an offensive lineman at number 10. Now, about that snow, Betsy, I mean, what's going on here?
I'm going to come over to your house and put crumbs on your counter. That's the best defense I have to provide to you. It's late.
You got it.
All right, well, we appreciate that from the very clean Camino Kitchen. Very unrealistically clean Camino Kitchen. Thanks, Nick. We'll be right back.
All right.
Here are 3 signs of hope as we head into the weekend. Parents, Disney wants to help you get your little ones to bed. The Disney Bedtime Hotline is back through the end of the month. Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Donald, and Daisy Duck can wish your child a good night. Andre Drummond may be a new member of the Cavaliers, but that isn't keeping him from helping Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse workers. He's donating $60,000 to help those currently out of work due to the stay-at-home order. And tomorrow night, the world will join together for a star-studded virtual concert. Jimmy Fallon, along with Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel, will host the One World Together at Home concert. It'll be a who's who of the music industry performing, raising funds for frontline workers and the World Health Organization.
It is going to be quite the show, Betsy. Nothing like this number of headliners has come together since Live Aid in 1985. So I know what I'm doing tomorrow night.
I definitely do. I remember Live Aid, so I know you don't, but I do. But I tell you what, it was definitely a lot of fun, and I'm sure it's going to be very inspiring for a whole lot of people.
I think so, yeah, and raise a lot of money.
Very good. All right, well, be sure to tune in to 3 News Go starting at 5 a.m. Have a great night and a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you for spending the evening with us. 3 News, the most watched late news in Northeast Ohio.